Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to our Family and Friends webinar. We hope everyone had an amazing summer. We have been looking forward to coming together and restarting our Family and Friends updates, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Petronella Ntebele, and I'm the Director of Strategic Communications and Stakeholder Relations, and I'll be facilitating the proceedings for today. I am an immigrant. My family and I came to Canada in 2010, a place we now call home. We continue on a journey of learning and reflecting on the history of this country. And now I would like to acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaties signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. We also acknowledge that we are all treaty peoples, including those who came here as settlers, as migrant, either in this generation or in generations past, and those of us who came here involuntarily, particularly as a result of the transatlantic slave trade. Today, we pay tribute to the ancestors of those of African and Indigenous origin and descent. It's great to be here today with all of you. And before we begin our meeting, there are a few housekeeping items to go over. We ask that you use the Q&A function to make a comment or ask a question. You will notice that today we have an agenda that is loaded as always, and we have a lot to share with you. If you have any or experiencing any technical issues, kindly connect with Julia Selani. She'll be able to assist you. And if you are presenting today, kindly ask Brianna McClellan to change when you want to change the slides. Without any further delay, I would like to welcome our first presenter, Brad Sanders, Chief Executive Officer of Community Living Toronto, to provide insights into our new strategic plan, which is set to launch this fall, and to share the great outcomes of this year's Quality Assurance Measure Compliance Review. Welcome, and over to you, Brad.
Thank you, Petronella. Thanks for the land acknowledgement. Always good to hear. So I wanted to spend a few minutes just talking to people about the strategic planning process that Community Living Toronto has gone through really over the past year. I used to ride a motorcycle, and I started riding in my 30s and got out of it in the last number of years just as I didn't have enough time. And one of the things I learned about when you're driving a motorcycle, or really any vehicle, is that if you don't want to, the most important thing around staying safe and going where you want to go is to look ahead. You've got to look down the road. If you're about to run into something, if you're making turning around a corner and you look at the car that you think you're going to bang into, you're likely going to hit it. If you look down the road where you want to be, you're more likely to be able to get there. That, in essence, is what goes into the thinking and what the rationale behind a strategic plan is. So we've got three big pillars, three big directions that we're going to go towards as an agency over the next 5 years. And we also got 5 other initiatives that we're going to talk about. The pillars are the 3 that are outlined on the screen here. We're going to put people we support first. We're going to grow to meet the increasing demand that we're seeing. And we want to contribute to fostering communities and neighborhoods across our city. Just going to dive a little bit deeper into each of those for a second. When we say put people we support first, you would think as an organization like ours that's been around for 75 years, we do person-directed planning, we provide lots of opportunities for people, that would be something that we're already doing. But we really recognize that we do some things really well and some things we need to work on. And as people have choice in the coming years around where they spend money that government gives and have more ability to direct their services, we wanted to make sure that not only are we saying we're putting people first, that there's a customer service journey, that people have a good experience in engaging with Community Living Toronto. And you know what you're going to expect, that we have a reputation, a standard, a brand that we're fulfilling in every interaction that we have with people. And that goes for people that are experiencing us as service users or people with a disability and their families, but also internally around how we relate to each other as staff working in the organization. The second big pillar is grow to meet increasing demand. Again, kind of an obvious one, but we want to be clear that we want to support more people in an increasingly complex environment. So that means that we will put our resources and our thinking and our creativity behind serving more people and also serving people as their needs change over time. And then the third one is also sort of an aspirational one that needs sort of further definition, but we've recognized for years that we have something to offer as Community Living Toronto to not just people with a disability living in a particular part of the city or neighborhood, but we also can contribute to the fabric and making those communities better places to live. We've seen this happen in some of the group home locations that we're in, where the group homes are really welcomed and adopted within a neighborhood. People come for Christmas parties. They, we share plants or do gardens back and forth. We do barbecues in the summer. We're really part of the neighborhood. In some of our community participation supports or sort of retail spaces, and I'm thinking of Creative Village Studio as a really good example of that. We established a storefront there more than a decade ago. And over that time, we've drawn in people from the community to the point where that location has become more than just a spot for people with disabilities to go and attend, but it's really become part of that neighborhood. So we want to figure that out and broaden that across the city so that when people know that Community Living Toronto is going to be in a location, that we're contributing and adding something to those communities. So more to come on that, but that's the three big directions that we're going to work on. The next slide speaks to the sort of 5 things that we're going to do initially to start getting us there. And I won't go too deep on these because there'll be lots more information coming here. But the 5 things we want to accomplish are transform our program and service models. We want to make sure that we're doing the best with what we've got and that the services really reflect best practice, modern delivery expectations of government and of service users. The second thing we want to do is modernize and reimagine our business operations. And it's not so much reimagine, but modernize our business operations. So maybe a question would be, how does this tie into, us being a human service organization and the importance of that? I'll give you an example. For the people that are in residential service with us, one of the expectations we have is that we have to monitor money for them. So that might be ODSP payments or other payments that come in. And it's a process that we're very accountable to government for how we do that. For years, our staff would spend hundreds of hours, thousands of hours a year recording with pen and paper in Excel spreadsheets, all the transactions that you can imagine somebody would have over the course of a month, going out for Tim Hortons, planning a trip, paying rent and other expenses. It was a huge amount of time that went into that. About 4 years ago, we adopted an automated system that allowed us to, instead of writing everything down, take a picture. It's automatically scanned and uploaded into a system. The math is always right. Accountability is better. And we've literally reinvested thousands of hours of staff time from sort of staff working with people away from doing administrative and paper and into working with people. We see more opportunity for that in the future. Number 3 is equipping our workforce for the future. Our workforce is just critical to everything we do. We want to make sure that we have a professional, dedicated, and well-trained workforce to get us into the future. We've talked a lot, and we're going to talk a little bit more today about embedding equity, diversity, and inclusion within the organization. Also critical for us to get at. And then finally, advocate for what is important to us. And that could be things related to disability and intellectual disability. It may also be, what we want to see for our city, what we want to see in healthcare and other organizations and other areas of our work that are important to us. So again, quick overview of where we're heading. There's lots more to come on this as we launch this, but I'm speaking on behalf of all of us here, and certainly the 1,200 people that work with Community Living Toronto. This will guide our work over the next 5 years, and I personally am very excited about where this gets us as an organization in the years to come. So with that, I will stop and I'll turn it back to Petronella.
Thank you so much, Brad, for that overview. And indeed, it is good to see our supports and services located in different neighborhoods across the city. And indeed, Creative Village Studio has now become part of the community, and we had the privilege to see that work on the ground. So thank you so much for providing that overview. And the launch of our strategic plan will take place sometime in the fall. Congratulations to all for a successful. Now I would like to invite our Director of Community Participation.
Sorry, Petra, I forgot to mention the QAM review. So maybe I'll just do that quickly before
okay, thank you.
Joe and Heather join in. So every year or so, the ministry comes and inspects every developmental services organization across the province, particularly focused on those that are providing residential care. And we support about 600 people, 600 to 700 people with where they live. This year, it happened right over the summer, which was fantastic. The ministry came for just over 3 weeks with 3 staff and reviewed us against about 300 quality assurance measures. We had a really fantastic outcome that we're quite proud of. We had, excuse me, they identified one area of non-compliance that we fixed fairly quickly. So we were really thrilled with how we did there. Our results are posted on our website and at our locations. Again, this year, the ministry gave us really good feedback, both written and through the inspection, but also just comments around how engaged our staff were, how much they noticed our commitment to putting people first, and we were really thrilled with the outcome. We spend a lot of time focusing on quality and making sure that we're operating safely and giving people the opportunity to have a thriving life. And this was really good to hear the ministry's expectation of us there.
Thank you, Brad. Indeed, it's great to hear such great results, and congratulations to all those who were all involved. Thank you so much. So we move on with our program, and at this point, I would like now to welcome Joe Persaud, our Senior Director for Community Participation Supports and Respite, as well as Heather Dunn, our Program Manager, to provide an update on our current approach to community participation supports and give us an insight into respite options. Joe and Heather, over to you.
Hi, Petronella. Thank you very much. I'll get started with our update for community participation supports, and then I'll pass it over to Joe to give us an update on respite. Welcome, and nice to have everybody join us today. I'm going to start with some highlights. So as you may be aware, our revitalization approach for community participation supports successfully launched our first iteration from July 4th to September 30th. We'll be continuing on. And we've been welcoming people back who were previously in our community participation support programs in one of the formerly called SWACA programs, ADP, and a developmental center. So people who previously were supported in those programs, as well as were part of living in the community with families, living independently, and living in one of our other programs at ISP, LifeShare, or people who are living in other agencies. We were really successful this summer with a great launch. We were able to increase the number of spots available to people across our 8 CPS locations. We had about 150 additional spots made available. And each of the offerings for people that were supported, we are now supporting people at all different support ratios at all of the different programs across the city. Next slide, please. So the people who were formerly in our day program supports and also living with us at Community Living Toronto, they're now having the 24-hour a day support model. This change definitely supports a changing demographic within the people that we provide support to at Community Living Toronto. It provides people an opportunity to have a lot more flexibility within the supports and services that they're receiving. And we recently, as of the summer, increased the ability for people who are in supported living, in community living, to be able to book spaces at all of this 6 of the 8 locations in community participation supports, and then coordinating those activities with other locations. So other programs and creating opportunities within those locations and to reconnect within those locations and within the neighborhoods. We also worked in collaboration with supported living to create a really amazing meaningful day activities through connectability. So if you wanted to explore some activities from home or try some new things, this activity library is absolutely incredible. This was led by Melanie Hooker and in collaboration with our supported living group to really figure out how do we provide opportunities for people to try new things and provide them with the tools and resources that they can use. So you'll see on the bottom corner there, so this is just an example of on our SharePoint site, how our supported living staff members and supervisors can go onto SharePoint and book a space at any of the CPS locations. So if you have any questions about that, you can always reach out to us, but that is now available for the 6 CPS locations. Next slide, please. So one of the new and interesting ways that we have for being able to provide people with choices, we do have a change in the way that we're offering our support. So currently a funded spot does equal 15 hours of support. So this is a change from the old way that we were doing things. We are definitely providing support for people in quarters. So this quarters means that it'll be for periods of up to about 12 weeks. People will be able to choose the 15 hours a week that they would like to be supported in a variety of combinations. We do have an opportunity each fall, and then again, we'll have an opportunity in the winter. So each quarter, people will have an opportunity to check out our new experience guide and to register for areas of interest. And all of these experience guides are created based on the feedback that we're hearing from individuals who are currently in service, people who are their families, and people who have reached out to us and asked for specific programs. But people can pick and choose how they want to choose to use that time. So some people may choose to have 3 days a week at 5 hours a day. Some people prefer to pick a morning session. So maybe they want 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, and that would be in person, but they might just want to come in the afternoon, or they might want to come just in the morning. Other people may choose to have 2 days a week of in-person, and that could be a day, morning, evening session, or a Saturday session alongside 3 virtual sessions of classes whenever they want to, whatever fits into their interests and their schedule. And then coming soon, we also will have 15 hours a week of customizing your supports. So you can pick and choose not just the activities that you're interested in, the days, times, but also the different locations. So you would be able to select perhaps a couple of days at Fairfax and then 1 day at Gooderham or something to that effect, whatever works out best for you to be able to explore and meet up with friends. Next slide, please. So the fall registration is now open. We opened our fall registration September 5th, and that was for our funded people. So people who previously held a spot within one of our CPS locations, and also were part of that group of living in community. So we opened that from the 5th. We will continue to register people up until the 30th of September. So if you are part of that funded group, you can still reach out to us and we'll help you with that registration process. So our next fall session will be starting October 10th to December 23rd. And we'll be able to, like I said in the previous slide, people will be able to choose based on the location, so their neighborhood. They'll also be able to join up based on the people. So who do they want to spend time with, and where can they find those folks? The days of week. So some people are really excited about the new opportunities that we're offering on Saturdays to explore their neighborhood and their cities. Also the hours. So we have morning, afternoon, and evening hours. and also the Saturdays. And then the length of the experience, like I mentioned previously, we have sessions that are running for just the morning session from 9 till 12. And then we also have an afternoon 2 till 5, and then an evening session at some of our locations that is offering from 3 until 8 o'clock. So lots of different options for people to choose from based on their interests, their availability, and it's really a great way for people to explore. Next slide, please. So how do people register? We know that we recognize that this is a new way of doing things. So we are registering everybody on My Community Hub. If you need assistance to do that, we're offering assistance over the phone or online, or we also are offering in-person registration days for both our funded and non-funded folks. People who are interested in going into these sessions from the community who don't have funding and who want to purchase services using fee-for-service, they can start that registration. It began on Friday, so people are welcome to reach out to us if they have any interest in doing that. We will continue, like I mentioned before, to continue to register people ongoing. So please do reach out if you have any questions about that. Next slide. So we want,
Joe, I think Heather is frozen.
Yeah, I think Heather's
an issue
frozen.
recently found.
There she is.
We recently identified with our CPS voicemail line. It has come to our attention that due to a technical glitch, we have had a backlog of our voice messaging in our CPS voicemail that we cannot access. There has been a solution identified, and the calls for this line now are being directed to one of the CPS leaders, cell phones directly. This solution ensures that we are receiving all current and future calls. You can reach out to our team directly, or you can anticipate a return call on the next business day. If you have left us a voicemail on our CPS line and haven't heard back, we kindly ask that you contact us again by phone or email using the numbers on the slide. You will be able to receive a call back from us, and we want to assure you that we have not ignored the calls and that we very much want to hear from you. So please do reach out to us once again, and we'll answer any questions or feedback that you have. Thank you. And again, we are sincerely sorry for any inconvenience this may have caused, and we're looking forward to hearing from you soon. I'll pass it over to Joe.
Thanks, Heather. Appreciate that. And just quickly mention, you actually cut out a little bit there, explaining the technical glitch with our phone line. So how appropriate, right? Technical glitch with a technical glitch. But I hope folks heard that. Basically, if you have called us in the past on that phone line that Heather referenced in the last slide, and you haven't received a return call, please give us a call again, and we'll get to your questions or concerns. So thank you, Heather. All right, so hello, everyone. Nice to see such a great turnout for today's webinar. Really appreciate everyone coming up for our first one after the summer break. And to jump right in, like this slide says, the last slide, please. Yep, right there. I think we can all agree that everyone needs a short break, and our respite services aims to provide high quality short breaks for the people we support and their families and caregivers. Thanks. Next slide. Here we go. And as you may know, our respite programs are out-of-home short breaks for caregivers and their loved ones. And the activities in our respite programs are fun and engaging, and they're modeled after a camp-like environment in mind. We aim to foster social, emotional, and community participation skills, and we promote independence, life skills, and the personal development of our participants. And these support offerings are meant to be flexible and short-term, of course. Next slide. We offer after-school and evening respite options at our children's respite locations at Lawson and Innerdale. These programs are offered from Monday to Thursday for 3 booking sessions during the school year. Please note that bookings are still available at our Innerdale site in the West End. for the first session, while our Lawson site is fully booked for the first session. Next slide, please. So this slide is basically the eligibility information for our children's respite programs in the East End at Lawson and West at Ennerdale. And also you'll see the main intersections and contact information for each of those two programs. Next slide, please. And now for our adult respite program at Sibley Parkview, which is located near Victoria Park in Danforth and is currently undergoing the final stages of renovation. We're very excited and hope to be reopening in a couple of months in November. And on this slide, you'll see the eligibility requirements for the adult respite program and contact information. On the next slide, you'll see a sneak peek of some photographs for the great progress made so far with our renos. And you'll see the bright and welcoming and spacious areas in these photos with the modern design and furnishings, and also a really good feature there in terms of a well-equipped and accessible washroom in the bottom left. Next slide, please. And as you saw throughout the brief update here, I shared the contact information throughout the presentation so you have it many times, but here's a detailed list of contacts that includes the contact information for each member of our great leadership team for Respite Choices. So we have it in many ways. We'd love to hear from you and look forward to welcoming folks back when we reopen our adult services. So thank you. Back to you, Patty.
Thank you so much, Joe and Heather, for providing an overview of options and choices available for our community participation supports and respite programs. And we do encourage our families to get in touch if you want to learn more, and the contact details were posted on the slide. Now I would like to welcome a very special guest for today's fireside chat, Verilyn Hall. Verilyn has been a part of the Community Living Toronto for more than 30 years. She is a retired CLTO staff member, an advocate, and proud grandmother. And in the spirit of our 75 years of belonging and telling stories, today we have an opportunity to listen to the story of Verilyn. Welcome, Verilyn, and Brad, over to you.
Thank you, Petronella. Verilyn, nice to see you. I have to say, you're looking relaxed and calm. I don't think I've ever seen you look so relaxed. Nice. Thanks for taking time out of retirement to come and chat with us for a few minutes.
Sure. I appreciate being here. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Wanted to cover a few things today in the bit of time that we have, and I wonder if you could maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and your connection and experience with Community Living Toronto.
Wow. So I started to work with Community Living in 1989, and throughout all those years, you know, I was involved in many roles, various roles. And the last experience working with Community Living was when I became a part of the anti-racism committee that was struck with Community Living and the union. So I can remember that. And I know also as well that as a result of being a part of the union, that provided me with many opportunities of involvement within Community Living and servicing the members that we serve, and also with the employees of this association.
That's great. Do you have so 1989, that's a good career. So you must have seen a lot of change over the years, I'm sure.
I certainly have.
Excellent.
Yes.
Is there a memory that stands out for you from your time with Community Living?
So one memory which has repeated itself many times was when I was given the opportunity to bring for our individuals to visit their parents or their guardians within their homes. And this one particular one that I can speak of is at the time, this individual that was on my caseload, I had to visit their parents at Christmas time and for their birthdays. So I had to drive quite a distance to arrive at their home. And each time that I happened to go there, it was the same love that was shown to not only the individual, but also to myself. And there was never a moment that I felt excluded from that discussion around the table. And this individual looked forward to being there and getting his ice cream. That's when I learned more about that individual, not realizing there was such a passion for the dessert, the ice cream. And this family also at Christmas time had gifts for all the staff and the individual. And I learned about their extended family as well. And during all those periods and times, it was what was touching to me as well was how they accepted the individual for who they are, and the fact that they're not living at home, but they still had access to visit and to have that relationship. So my experience is all about that continuity of relationship and family.
That's a great observation around when things go well and are at their best. It's not just you have a professional role in your staff, but there's also a connection, a relationship that you form with families and individuals that can often last decades and sometimes generations, where you can be involved with parents and then siblings and other members of the family. That's great to hear. I'm assuming that you got some ice cream too during these visits? And
of course I did. I indulged as well.
Excellent. Was there a particular flavor that jumped out, or was this
Vanilla.
vanilla? Okay. Any
Vanilla,
sauce?
yes.
Nothing, just went.
I'm sorry?
Any sauce or sprinkle? Sorry, I'm a little obsessed with the ice cream now, but
Yeah.
sprinkles are.
No, well, for me, I like it plain, but for this individual, he accepted it anyway with the sprinklers or
Perfect.
with fudge, thrown over it. He was very open and kept asking for more.
Fantastic. That's
Yeah.
a nice memory to have as you go into retirement and work with you, and spend more time with your kids. That you've got those experiences. Fantastic.
Yes.
I want to switch gears a little bit, and a large number of the staff that work for Community Living Toronto are represented by our union, CUPE 2191. And that's been a strong, constructive partnership for many years that we value. We each have a role to play in making sure that we have a strong, professional workforce with the organization. And you were involved in leadership as a member, but also in leadership with the union for a number of years. Do you want to speak about your experiences there? Anything that you'd like to share?
Yes. Well, I played many roles in the union, and my last role was I was the vice president of that local. And my experience shortly before I retired was when there was partnership between the union and Community Living Toronto, where with your leadership, Brad, I know we struck that anti-racism committee. And I won't bore everyone with the details, but what I can say, out of that meeting, we had a goal. And the goal was to look into the hiring practices, look into disciplinary matters and all of that. That was in the policies, and the policies we looked at. And as a result of us delving deeply into that, we realized how connected we are as employees and management and the union, and where we worked and came up with results and solutions. And it was what was touching to me with the fact that community living was open to this kind of discussion. And we also know this is a global discussion in many, many sectors and facets of the world. And so what this tells me is that community living, they are very current, and they're very in terms of advancing the various agendas that do impact workers. So that is one thing, one memory among others that I'm taking away from being with Community Living Toronto.
Great.
Yes.
Thanks for saying that. I know you co-chair the anti-racism and equity, diversity, and inclusion group for a couple of years with Joe Prasad, who was
Correct.
doing the work in setting that up. And it's interesting to say when we established this, I mean, we established that group, it came to prominence, as you say, sort of not just with us, but we were in response to what was going on around, certainly in North America and around the world, around the George Floyd incident. And just people's emotional reaction to what we all saw on TV there. And the takeaway that I think what I took away from the work with that committee, is the importance of listening. So we set up our systems in such a way, our trainings and our hiring and our onboarding and our supervision with staff, in a way that we see as very fair and equal. But in our journey of listening to people and hearing what the experience of some of our processes were and our policies, was that they weren't all experienced as being equal, that they advantaged some and disadvantaged others. And I think we are committed to making sure that we're a much more equitable organization and on that journey. To me too, the value was we want to make sure that the people we support they feel like they're belonging, that they feel like they belong in their organizations and they're well supported. But key to that is, as you've known as a staff member for many years, you need to feel like that you're part of your organization, and your organization supports you as well. Do you think we made progress in that, or what kind of progress do you think that we made in the work that we did with that group and continue to go? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, yes. What has moved the needle some more is the inclusion. And based on all the activities that we had to be involved in, it included all staff with Community Living Toronto. I know at one time we had to do, the name is missing me now, where we had to send out questions to all staff to get their views on, or their, basically to respond to questions so that we can have a pulse of what they're thinking and how they're feeling. Right. And basically, these questions gave Community Living and the union an idea of how included they feel, how respected they feel, and how much they feel appreciated, or how much they appreciated the both the association and the sector. So out of all of that, it's based on the responses that this group came away and could come up with action pieces of moving forward where there seem to be any shortages.
Right.
Or where there may be any misunderstandings. So with all of that, we did reach out to various groups who provided support and direction based on the actions that Community Living and the union agreed upon.
Good.
So I think there were many gains there. And I'm sure it always also brought about the awareness that Community Living is aware of the work of the union, and employees have a further understanding of the role that the union plays, and that it's a joint work in progress.
Thank you, and thanks for your leadership in that area. You helped create an environment that was safe for people to share their views, and I really think you were critical to us making a lot of that, a lot of progress there for your leadership. So thank you.
Oh, thanks.
We're 75. Community Living Toronto is celebrating our 75th anniversary this year, and we're celebrating 75 years of belonging. And belonging has changed. The definition and how people experience it has changed over the last 75 years. So in your mind, what does belonging mean to you?
Oh, I think there are many words to describe belonging, but one that comes to my mind is inclusion. Belonging, to feel belong, you have to be included. And also, to have that sense of belonging, there needs to be equal access. There needs to be equity and equal access to resources. There has to be that, for regardless of your race or your creed. So, and also, I did mention appreciation. In order to have that sense of belonging, you need to feel appreciated. And I think with, I know that with inclusion and belonging, I think it plays a part in your mission statement,
Right.
and in every facet of the work that's being done by Community Living.
So appreciation and inclusion, that I'm going to zero in on that appreciation concept. So as a staff at Community Living for so many years, and as a member in a community, you felt one of the things that what I'm hearing you say is that being appreciated by people, and that would that be people you work with or others, or were there specific people that that made you feel more appreciated or enhance that sense of belonging?
Yeah. Well, first, let me say, so the appreciation that comes with full force from the individuals we support.
Right.
They do communicate their appreciation for the staff. And appreciation coming from management. Yes, there is appreciation, but there's room for improvement in some areas.
I agree.
And I have seen where there's the improvement, where many policies have changed, and there's more teaching, access to learning, and access to access based on, I would say, the computers, the way or the amount of information that is being served through the computer. We, as the staff now, can do that on their own time or whenever it's feasible based on their shift.
Right.
So yes,
That's excellent.
there is that information shared there, a lot of information shared.
Excellent. You've got more than 30 years of experience working with Community Living Toronto and working in the disability community. And as we're celebrating 75 years of belonging, we're looking back at our history, which is always important, but then we want to look towards the future too. What does in the next 75 years, what does a better world look like to you?
A better, are you meaning a better world like within community living or globally?
I think we're part of the world. So if there's
Part of the world, yeah.
Yeah, what
Okay.
what would you like the world to look like in 75 years, or what would a better world look like to you? It could be disability related or more broad.
So a better world will look better when we view the world through the lens of equal access, equal opportunity, and the love of sharing. That's a better world, what the better world would look through those lens. I
Right.
think through those lens, that will make it life more palatable, because we are seeing, and we have seen, the atrocities around the world and the attacks on humanity based on race, sometimes based on color. So a better world minus all those objects, minus all those barriers would be great. And also the opportunity of inclusion, where there's the opportunity to learn more about these barriers and how do you approach those barriers. How do you eradicate those barriers? How do you eradicate poverty
Right.
and hate? So that's a better world will, to me, through those lens, will certainly help everyone involved, the individuals, us as staff, refugees. It's so the entire world is to eradicate hate and segregation.
That is a good ambition.
I know.
So thank you.
Yes.
Thanks for taking some time for us this afternoon to chat and share, and I hope you're enjoying your life post working with Community Living Toronto, and thanks for your decades of support to so many people. We miss you, but we're happy that you're stepping into the next phase of life so well. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks to everyone, and thanks for the invitation. And I certainly enjoy this privilege.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Verilyn, for taking some time to come and share with us your 30 years. What an incredible journey at Community Living Toronto. We really appreciate that. And by the way, vanilla is a good choice of ice cream, and which is a good segue to our next topic on what we have been doing throughout summer. CLTO hosted a series of fun events and initiatives which brought our community together, many reconnecting with friends they had not seen for a while because of the pandemic. So at this point, I would like now to invite Angela Bradley, who's our Senior Director for Social Enterprise Development and Philanthropy, to share some of those activities that have been happening throughout summer, some of the fundraising and engagement updates filled with ice cream, dancing, big smiles, and joy. Angela, over to you.
Thanks so much, Petronella. And it's a pleasure to be here again. It feels like forever since I've been on a Friends and Family webinar. We went from having them weekly to it's been a while. And unfortunately, I can't see all of your wonderful faces, but I really hope that there's some smiles out there looking back at me. And hopefully, if one in particular, Nicole, if you and your group are online, there's a wave for you, and a big smile out to you and the groups at Wilcox Creek. So on to talking about what we've been up to in the past few months. So next slide, please. So we had our Family Fun Fair. And we haven't had this since 2019. So this was really exciting to get back on the books for Community Living Toronto. We had over 1,000 people come out to this event, and it was just absolutely wonderful. MPP Hazel, Andrea Hazel dropped by for a visit, as well as a couple of other local politicians. In the photo in the bottom here, you'll see it's not all, but some of our volunteers and staff who were able to help out. We thought to snatch a picture at the end of the day. So it's about half the folks that it took to put the event together. But for those of you who made it out, thank you so much for coming. It was so great to see all of you. If you want to flip to the next slide. There's some photos of people enjoying the day. We had bingo, we had lots of carnival games and lots of treats and snacks, and people came out from the community. They came from some of our sister agencies. Lots of our coworkers came out and brought their friends and family with them. I know my entire family was voluntold to come out, so they were all there and helping out for the day and just having a great time. And again, lots of folks from our supported living and those who attend our CPS programs came out for the day. And so anchor your calendars. We plan to have it the same weekend next year in 2024. We're going to keep it in the fall. It seems to be a little bit easier to schedule people to be able to come out for the day. So if I don't see you before, and I hope I do, I will see you next September. Next slide. Oh, we got some dancing here. It's also worth noting that we also took advantage of this event and we made it the kickoff to our United Way campaign. And so at this event, we had a great table of information. I don't think I saw the photo here, but we had a great table of information for the United Way, and some United Way reps came out for the day, and we were able to tell everybody about the great campaign that we have going on in support of United Way, which is an amazing funder for Community Living Toronto. And here we have somebody dancing up a storm as DJ Raptor Mark was there spinning some tunes for us, and you can see our amazing obstacle course in the background that people enjoyed. And trust me, these empty chairs do not show how many people were at the event. This is getting close to the end of the day where we're starting to wrap up, and there was still lots of dancing to be had. Next slide. And as I mentioned, it's our annual United Way campaign. So the United Way of Greater Toronto is an incredible supporter of the work that Community Living Toronto does. A lot of people might not even know that Community Living Toronto is actually one of the founders of United Way in Toronto. When we got together with a number of other agencies, and we said, you know, there's some big issues that we're all dealing with every day. And if we could all come together and create a United Way, then it could really benefit all of the city of Toronto at the time. And now it's the Greater Toronto area. And which is great for us because we have over 80 locations across the entire city. And I always say that without United Way, we wouldn't be able to reach into all those corners and pockets of the city to have the impact that we do, and to also benefit from the resources, because we don't do everything. And a lot of the time we're reaching out to a lot of the sister agencies that are involved with United Way and asking them for advice, resources. We're sharing resources. And learning, lots of learning to be done from various United Way groups that are representing many different equity deserving organizations and groups that are throughout the city. So what you see here is that we have a campaign event schedule, and I know that there's even more events that are on this calendar now. We celebrate United Way, and we encourage donations to the United Way throughout the months of September and October. So what we do is a number of events within the organization to really increase spirit, get people engaged, answer questions about the United Way, and encourage people to donate. Our biggest piece is our employee campaign. So a lot of employees will choose to give a few bucks from every pay throughout the year to support United Way. And it's not about United Way supporting Community Living Toronto and us, giving money to United Way to get money back. It's about supporting United Way and the amazing work that they do all across Toronto. One year we had a fun kind of scavenger hunt where people walked around the city and said, every time you see a United Way logo, let us know. And I live not far from the office at 20 Spadina, and I know that within about a 500-meter walking circle that I can do, that I probably would touch on about 30 agencies. So they really are in every neighborhood where all of us live, learn, work, and play. So if you want to know more information about our United Way activities, you want to participate in any of them, you want to host anything, for example, the Great Lemonade Stand, the Great Community Lemonade Stand is one that's really exciting coming up this weekend, where we host lemonade stands all across Toronto on Sunday and Monday, and we raise money and awareness for United Way, and it's a great opportunity to get to know your neighbors. And if you're interested in signing up for that, let us know right away, and we'll even send you the lemonade so that you can host a little fundraiser in your community. Next slide. So on the Monday after the Family Fun Fair, we got together and we rolled out our United Way caravan, and we went around to our program locations. We went to our supported living homes. We went to some of the CPS locations. We went to offices, and we handed out our Community Living Toronto 75th anniversary t-shirt to staff. And we said, hey, we've been around for 75 years. The United Way campaign's kicking off. Please get involved, host events, give through your employee contribution forms and online, and really take this opportunity to celebrate United Way, celebrate 75 years of Community Living Toronto and the partnership that we've had together. Next slide. So another way you can get involved if you're not one of our employees, so can't give through the employee contribution program, what you can do is you can join our Little Caesars fundraising part of our campaign here. So I'm going to stay on the slide for a minute because I know you're probably all feverishly trying to scan that QR code. So I'll give you a minute to grab that. If you don't have a phone with you, if somebody could type in the chat, please, Artem, the link to the website. And when you go to that website, if you use that code that is 428962, that will immediately make anything that you do on this Little Caesars fundraising site connected to Community Living Toronto. And the really great thing is you could buy your pizza favorites. I grew up, I went to university in the 90s, and in the 90s, I will tell you that the Little Caesars Crazy Bread was a staple in our dorm and in our houses as we were going through university. And I think it's just so cool. You can buy a kit here and make crazy bread at home with your kids, with your grandkids. You can have a pizza party. There's also cookie dough kits that you can buy online, and you can support the United Way campaign. $6 from every kit that you purchase through the Little Caesars portal will go towards our United Way campaign. So really easy way to support our campaign. And the the next question I know is going to be, how do you get your kits afterwards? All of the kits are going to be delivered to Community Living Toronto on October 19th. And then we are going to go to 4 different hubs across the city into our 4 different main communities and make arrangements for folks to come pick them up and support. Yeah, you don't need the CLTO in the code. I'm not sure why that's there. It's just that number 428962. And then it will tell you that it's part of Community Living Toronto. And that's great, Brad, that you put it. I don't know if you put it in the group chat or not, but that means Brad's online buying his pizza kits right now. And they freeze for like 3 months. So you can even buy them now and save them for a nice, fun New Year's Eve party or something like that. Next slide. In the summer, near the end of the summer, we actually had the chance to have the Honorable Dr. Helena Jazyk visit Shadow Lake Center. And for those of you who know the Honorable Jazyk, she is retiring from her post as MP, but she has been the local MP that Shadow Lake is in her riding. And she's been instrumental in helping us to do our applications for the Canada Summer Jobs Program. And that program provides over $100,000 towards the offset of the cost of camp. So it helps us pay our staff. And Canada Summer Jobs Program is used all across Community Living Toronto, but I will say that it has a tremendous impact on the camp, and we were honored to have the Honorable Jazyk out again. It's, I think, her first time since COVID. I think 2019 was her last visit to the camp because we weren't having outside folks in during camp sessions. But we had a great day with her, lots of boat rides and touring the camp, and lots of great photos. So thanks to Honorable Jazyk. And if you happen to see her out and about in the community, give her a high five and tell her thanks for supporting Community Living Toronto and Shadow Lake. Next slide. So many people have asked me about this. We had to cancel it way back in 2020, but we are back with our Party with a Purpose. And we are super excited. It's going to be a beach party. So plan to come out on November 18th. It's back at the Queen Elizabeth Theatre, which has been renovated during the pandemic break. And we're featuring the Dwayne Gretzky Band. And of course, DJ Raptor Mark will be there for the after party. There's going to be lots of amazing food, great entertainment, and really an opportunity for all of our community to come back together, celebrate Community Living Toronto, celebrate what it means to be part of the community, celebrate our 75th anniversary, and see all of our old friends and make some new ones. So for those who don't know, you can check out communityrocks.ca. We do have about 1,400 people who come to this event. It's a very busy event, but it is very, very exciting and lots of fun. And for those of you who have benefited from some of the community tickets, you should be hearing from us very soon. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us, but check out the website. And again, if I don't see you before, I'll see you on November 18th. Next slide. Oh, we had Duncan's Farm Day. Again, another event that was back for the first time since 2019. We had 100 people come out to the chair of our Patrons Council, Duncan Jackman's farm up in King City. And it was an amazing day of dancing, a barbecue. We had some swimming, again, ice cream. There's always ice cream. We played some field hockey. We had a visit from the horses, ice cream truck, lots of walking around the property and catching frogs and butterflies. And it was really just a lovely day. And some of our folks brought up their art supplies and did some beautiful paintings of the barns and the trees and horses and those things for the day. So huge shout out to Duncan Jackman and his family for hosting this amazing day. And Duncan's executive assistant, Nellie, really puts in all the legwork for the day, organizing it. And then, of course, the staff who helped get all of our folks out there. We had a big school bus come up with a giant group of people. And thanks to all of you who came and danced and ate and had a really fabulous time. And we'll see you next August. And that's it for me. I'm going to hand it back to Petronella. If you have any questions, throw them in the Q&A. Otherwise, most of you know my email address. And again, it's happy to be back. And thanks, everyone. We'll talk soon. Bye.
Thank you so much, Angie, for providing an overview of those community engagement events, which are really important in terms of promoting connection and celebration within our community, celebrating being part of the community and celebrating the amazing work that is happening in Toronto and beyond. So as Angie said, we will see her on November 18 at the Party with a Purpose. Thank you so much, Angela. That brings to the end our program for today, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our presenters. It was a pleasure to have you with us and to hear updates that have been going on, and we have a lot that's coming up. So a special thank you to everyone who presented today, and of course to our guest speaker, Verilyn, who was here to share her stories. So for this recording that took place today, we are going to be sharing it broadly. It has been recorded, and if you have any questions, please keep them coming and we'll do our best to respond to them. Our next Family and Friends update will take place in October and we'll advise you accordingly. And if you have any topics you would like us to address, please do let our team know. If you have any stories you would like to share, please also reach out. We'll be happy to share the stories. It's 75 years of belonging, 75 years of storytelling, and please do reach out. Thank you so much, everyone, and do have a good afternoon, and hope you'll be enjoying the remaining sunny days. Thank you so much.